Yo, what is going on, guys? One more time bringing guys a brand new Busch Gardens video. In this video, we're going to get a little speculative. Before we get into this video, I need y'all to do a couple things. First things first, go stream my new single, Blue Sweater, out now wherever you listen to your music. And also, you can get merch of my singles or Pawpaw Shop Recording Studio at wilmoreshop.com. And yeah, I am super hyped to get into this video because I've mentioned this off and on for the past several months in videos of 2025 and the new attraction in 2025 and the 50th anniversary. And a lot of these videos that I'm making now are stemming from the town hall. And if you guys remember, in the list of things that they were talking about in new attractions that they're talking about, it was an RMC coaster, a dark ride, and a 4D simulator, which is awesome to hear all those three. But one thing we really want to talk about is we can make an individual video, and probably will, for all three different types. But this week, we're going to focus more on the hottest topic of the three, which is the RMC coaster. This has been a long overdue answer to something that, if you've been part of the Busch Gardens fandom, and if you're also a follower of BGW fans and park fans like I am, we've been waiting for this new attraction at Fest House Park for years. And what is it going to be, and when are we going to get it? To start this little history lesson, we got to go all the way back to before Pantheon. After Invader, there was known that there was going to be a brand new Intamin coaster. It was going to be massive. It was going to be like a world-breaking coaster. It was going to be pretty much what Pantheon is, but Pantheon's like half of that coaster. The actual length of the coaster was in Italy and in Fest House Park, and actually went across the river. Kind of an insane idea, and would have been a really long thing for it to go across the river, but it was an idea, and there were blueprints of the track going over the river. So that was the plan, but it was a little ambitious, because you also got to think about, when you're doing a coaster that big, how many trains can you run? And if you're doing switch track like you do on Pantheon, that'll limit how many trains you're doing. If your ride is so long, you can only run so many trains, and you got to get people in and out through the hour for capacity, because you don't want the line to be 6 hours long, because a coaster of that nature would already have naturally a line of at least 2 to 3 hours. So if you have slow get in, get out, it was going to be a little rough. So that idea was pretty much scrapped pretty quickly. Because they had brought Intamin on for this major coaster, they were like, okay, maybe we break it into two. One year, one the next year. So this was supposed to be a 2020 coaster and a 2021 coaster, because we all know Pantheon was supposed to open in 2020. So obviously the next one got pushed off, because you're not going to build another coaster while you haven't opened this one, because that would kind of destroy the hype around it. Like I said, one criticism I have lately is I think Busch Gardens was very quick on the announcement for Dark Coaster, because you really didn't let Pantheon have its time to shine, because you still had the holiday season for it to get through. And Dark Coaster, you could have still hidden a little bit. Here's the other side. We all knew it was coming, so they're like, they already know about Dark Coaster. Do we just announce it? So I think that also played a part of it. Busch Gardens really can't hide anything. Park fans get their hands on it, and then all of us fans get our hands on it, and people like me, people like Coaster Studios, and the other people are going to start making videos about it. So you had to take that one big coaster and break it into two. So then it became Pantheon and this coaster that people dubbed Drakenspire, because of obviously Drakenfire. So it turned into this coaster that was pretty much like Pantheon, you know, the top hat and the spike. Okay, well, imagine that, right? But you go through the station and you get this nice bend, and you go up the spike. You go up the spike, right? You come down the spike, and then you go through this nice bend, nice big S turn, I think it was, and then you go up this spiraling spike at 355 feet tall. Massive! And it was just a spire where you're looking straight up in the air at 355 feet. Imagine you go down that backwards, because that was a possibility. It's kind of unclear how the train situation was going to be on that ride. You could have been going that backwards. Like, you go up, you're looking at the sky, and you're just pretty much free-falling in a way 355 feet, which is really insane. And it's kind of a shame that we might not get that. When you look at it, again, the whole conversation I bring of why the big, massive coaster idea didn't work, capacity. Because to run that coaster, you can only run one train. You'd have two Tempestos, two coasters that take a little while and you can only run one train. And with capacity, you can't have that because Tempesto, you can get away. It's a clone of another coaster. It's not like the marquee coaster. You had that 350-foot tall spike. People are flocking to ride that. And the line is going to be insane because that will be a world-class coaster. And you can only run one train every 5-ish minutes. So there's a lot of problems there. But that was kind of the solidified idea that we all kind of knew about probably from like 2019 up to about 2021, early 2022. And that was just kind of what we knew. This was the 2023 attraction. Obviously, we're in 2023 now, and we got Dark Coaster. So after two back-to-back Intamins, it was kind of like Busch Gardens we're going away from it. So then it became a whole speculation where people are like, well, okay, they're doing soil tests, and you see the balloon that's doing like the height tests and everything. So you know that they're doing something for James City County, and you're seeing these documents where they have to start construction on this ride. Oh, but they just got a new permit where they can push that off for like another year into the beginning of 2024. And you're like, what are they building? Is there anything being built? And then there's this big fest house building that they're doing. Apparently like a separate storage building. Don't know if it's really going to be a show building for anything. It might just be like a building where they can put stuff in it instead of the junkyard. And while that's still in the works, it didn't seem like that was the case. It still seemed like there was a coaster being built. And then you have Mock Tower go down. So then you're like, well, it's just getting delayed for a new Mock Tower replacement. And then you hear at the town hall, Mock Tower will be replaced at some point, but not anytime soon. There's a permit where within the next 6 months, they have to break ground on something unless they get another extension. And like I said over and over again, the 50th is coming. Something's got to be there for the 50th. Tempesto was there for the 40th. So they're going to go big for the 50th. So then people started speculating what type of coaster. A lot of people were expecting a Giga Coaster or a Wing Coaster, kind of like Griffin, but not really, a little bit more free than Griffin. And I was all for a Giga Coaster because that's what Busch Gardens doesn't have yet. So everyone kind of was like, okay, well, it was going to be this Intamin coaster, and that was kind of might have been a Giga Coaster. And then more plans start coming out and more whispers. And so recently, James City County also gave Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, another height waiver. Now, it was for 355 feet. I think it was like 305 feet, or it was somewhere in that range. It was smaller than 355, but still a very tall ride, and kind of like, maybe it's a Giga Coaster. But no, because let's look at our sister park down in Tampa, Florida. They just got Iron Gwazi. Smashing hit. Everyone loves it. One of my favorite coasters I've ever ridden. But the problem is it's a wooden coaster. And there's a certain noise level they have to have at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg to appease the Kingsmill residents. So how do you do a wooden coaster? Well, Invader's type coaster is very loud. An RMC is not quite as loud. I can tell you from riding it. So after riding Iron Gwazi, I was like, I hope this is the case. And I've heard rumblings. And it looks more and more like that will be the case, because if you look at the history of Busch Gardens, when Tampa gets something, Busch Gardens gets something. Now, Iron Gwazi could also be seen as Tampa's equivalent again, Pantheon, a world-class coaster, granted a whole different style coaster. But if you look over the history, Tampa got Cheetah Hunt, Williamsburg got Verbolten. Tampa got Shikra, Williamsburg got Griffin. Tampa got Montu, Williamsburg got Alpengeist. You see the similarities. So yeah, it really became okay. Williamsburg's probably going to get an RMC. So when is it coming? Because are they going to do 3 rides back to back to back in 2024? Because then what are you going to do in 2025? Well, then we get this news of Loch Ness Monster is getting a refurb. So then that kind of puts everything like, okay, we're starting to get everything into perspective. They didn't want to do a brand new world-class coaster 3 years in a row, because that's a lot. And you're kind of leaving the rest of the park out to dry while you're just going coaster here, coaster there, coaster everywhere. So then they take this 1 year and they're like, no new coasters. What we're actually going to do is we're going to refurb this coaster that needs a lot of work done to it. So they're like, okay, we're going to redo Loch Ness Monster. So that means all signs point to 2025. We're getting a new coaster, and by the looks of it, it's going to be an RMC coaster. And that's exciting. A massive RMC coaster, may I say. And the president of the park was quoted recently saying, I don't see a need for the park to open a new ride with a 48-inch height requirement. Well, you know which coaster is a massively successful coaster? Didn't require a 48-inch height requirement? Iron Gwazi. It seems too perfect. This ride that Busch Gardens has been so tight-lipped about since 2019, 2020. Everyone's known that there was a Fest House Park ride coming, and it's been pushed off year after year after year. I think we are finally in sight of what it's going to be. And now that Busch Gardens is a year-round park, March is no longer that like ceremonial opening day experience where you'd have preview day for the members and then you'd open it up to the rest. They're like, we want to still give you something that has that feel, so they're doing another town hall. And the paperwork that I believe I have read recently was they have to break ground on the new project by first quarter of 2025. And when you're working out in Fest House Park, outside of Hallows Screen, guests don't have access to it. You don't see what's going on over there. So they can break ground in January and you're having all these events. No one will know a thing. Someone might see a crane, but if you're just breaking ground, you're not really going to see that high equipment because you're not doing anything with track yet. By March next year, my prediction is we will know what type of coaster that is. We might not even know what type of coaster because of how they're going to be able to hide it, but I would imagine a coaster of this level, we're going to know. Sometimes they wait till the summer to announce it, but that's when you can really see it. So I'm super hyped about what the potential of this new coaster could be. And is it definitely an RMC coaster? No, but are all signs pointing to that? Yes. Because especially after the president's recent comments about the 48-inch height requirement, if you're going to do a Giga coaster, you have to be tall to ride the Giga coaster. Like, that's just natural. It's like riding Griffin or Alpengeist. The fact that they're not shooting for that, and the 50th anniversary, you want to have a coaster that everyone can ride. So it just makes sense that we're going to get that RMC coaster that might even be bigger and crazier than Iron Gwazi, which is already insane. So just thinking about it gets me super hyped. You can probably tell my face and just the way I talk about it. Whenever I mention the RMC, I just get a little bit more excited because, especially after experiencing Iron Gwazi firsthand, it's amazing. And we'd be so lucky to have a ride like that. What do you guys think that the new coaster or attraction will be in 2025? Do you think it will come in 2025? And what would you like it to be? And what would you like the theme of it to be? And are you happy that something's finally going to go back in the Drakenfire location in Fest House Park? Let me know down below. Make sure to subscribe if you had already. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed. Make sure to hit that bell button down below so you're notified every single time I upload a brand new video to the channel. Make sure to go stream my new single, Blue Sweater, out now wherever you listen to your music. Make sure to go check out my merch at willmorrisshop.com. My name is Will Morris, and I'm out. Peace.
With my blue sweater, when we're not together, I can hold